Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going on a massive journey through time to uncover a hidden function of art, spanning all the way from 50,000 BCE to 1200 CE. Now, we usually tend to think of ancient art as just, beautiful objects sitting quietly in a museum. But what if we've been looking at them all wrong? What if they were actually these incredibly sophisticated tools for preserving the human experience? So I want you to start by asking yourself this exact question. How do you record a dance without a video camera or a song without a microphone? Before any modern technology existed, humans were still experiencing complex, multisensory events like rhythms, choreography, and theatrical storytelling. We absolutely need to reframe how we view ancient artifacts. Instead of seeing them as just static objects, we need to recognize them as active, brilliant recording devices that were deliberately created to capture these fleeting moments of human expression.
Okay, let's dive into this by nailing down a foundational concept. On one hand, we have tangible heritage. These are the physical things we can actually touch, right? Artifacts, monuments, musical instruments, props. But on the other hand, we have intangible heritage. These are the living expressions, oral traditions, performing arts, rituals, and the actual hands-on crafting skills passed down through generations. Basically, it's the difference between the physical instrument itself and the music it produces. To really wrap your head around this, take a look at this continuous loop. It's a total symbiotic relationship. The intangible, energetic ritual literally cannot be performed without the tangible physical mask. And flip that around. That mask, the physical artifact, only exists in the first place because of the intangible crafting skill of the artisan who made it. The object relies on the performance survives through the object. They completely need each other to exist.
So, here is our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The tangible and intangible. 2. Prehistoric performance archives. 3. Visual broadcasting in stone. 4. Monolithic space and sound. And finally, 5. The ultimate cosmic dance. Think of this whole thing as a detective story where we're going to prove our thesis across vast stretches of human history. Section 2. Prehistoric performance archives. Let's see exactly how early humans managed to document their highly complex, multisensory experiences long before anyone even thought about inventing written language. Just look at the sheer massive scope of the timeline we're covering here. We are moving from the prehistoric canvas to early civilizations, into the classical age, and finally all the way up to the medieval era. But notice the global synchronicity highlighted on the map. While the famous Bhimbetka rock shelters were being painted in India, parallel artistic expressions were happening simultaneously in places like France, Spain, and Indonesia. The human drive to document expression, it was a completely global phenomenon. Now, here is a perfect side-by-side from 50,000 years ago. On the left, from Slovenia, we've got a Neanderthal flute crafted from bone fragments, which is literally the earliest physical proof of complex acoustic expression. And on the right, the absolutely magnificent Altamira and Chauvet cave paintings from France and Spain, capturing vivid motion and anatomy. What this proves is that early humans were simultaneously developing tools for acoustic manipulation alongside visual documentation, music and art, growing together. Okay, I want you to look really closely at this cave painting and try to see the invisible here. Notice the linked arms of the figures? That's not random at all. It represents codified choreography. And check out the objects they're holding. Those represent acoustic instruments. Prehistoric humans weren't just slapping paint on a cave wall to decorate. They were systematically documenting multi-sensory performance events. They were essentially archiving their own prehistoric hit singles. It brilliantly proves that complex music and organized dance predate recorded history by tens of thousands of years. Moving on to Section 3, Visual Broadcasting in Stone. As we jump forward in time to early civilizations and the classical age, this documentation starts becoming highly stylized and deliberately engineered for mass communication. Take a look at this incredible bronze figure from the Sindhu-Saraswati civilization, dating all the way back to 2600 BCE. Now, this isn't just some generic statue. Look at the highly specific posture. One knee is precisely bent, the hand is resting confidently on the waist, the chin is lifted up. This is a deliberate, codified stance indicating a firmly established tradition of early performing arts. They were literally using metallurgy as a permanent canvas to freeze a specific moment of choreography in time. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the technology behind that stance.
The lost wax technique they used to create that 2600 BCE bronze figure is an incredibly complex metallurgical process. But get this, it isn't just ancient history. It is a living, breathing tradition today. This exact intangible crafting skill has survived and is literally still practiced right now by artisans in West Bengal, Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh. The physical object is old, sure, but the knowledge to make it is alive today. As societies grew larger, so did the need to share complex narratives. Enter the 1st century BCE Sanchi Stupa gateways. Honestly, you can kind of think of these intricately carved monuments as the comic books of the ancient world. They served as a massive visual broadcasting system, transmitting rich oral Jataka tales like the stories of Vesantara or Mahakapi to a populace that was largely illiterate. They turned a static stone monument into a vibrant broadcasting tool for these intangible stories. Fast forward to the Golden Age, and this archiving of human expression really diversifies into distinct regional styles. In Sarnath, they used Chunar sandstone for these highly idealized body proportions. Down in Mathura, red spotted sandstone captured rounded bodies with incredibly expressive faces. And over in Gandhara, gray schist was used to create super realistic anatomy with a strong Greco-Roman resemblance. Think wavy hair and flowing robes. Each region was finding its own unique, tangible material to best archive the intangible human spirit. So how do they ensure this archiving was actually accurate? Well, they developed what we can call the triad of expression. First up, you have the treatise. Texts like the Natya Shastra laid down the exact rules for expression. Those rules then dictated the performance, the live musicians and dancers actually bringing the text to life. And finally, that ephemeral live performance was permanently captured in the visual archive. Things like the stunning Ajanta murals documented precise performance postures right onto stone walls. It's just a perfect system of preservation. Section 4. Monolithic Space and Sound. Let's slow down for a second as we enter the medieval era, because here we begin to see the overwhelming, awe-inspiring scale of human devotion immortalized in solid rock. Just try to wrap your head around the absolute scale of these structures. Over on the left is the Kailasha Temple. It's the largest monolithic freestanding structure in the world. They carved it entirely downward from a single solid basalt rock over 18 years. That's 400,000 tons of rock removed, just to create a physical space for devotion. And on the right, the Kudum Yanmalai inscription. This isn't just random text, it's an entire musical treatise, complete with classical ragas and notations, permanently carved into the rock face of a cave temple. Physical space and intangible sound, locked in stone forever. Section 5. The Ultimate Cosmic Dance. We are hitting the climax of our explainer here. We're about to look at what is arguably the absolute zenith of blending tangible material with intangible movement and profound philosophy. Behold the Natraja. It was cast in bronze under the Chola dynasty using that exact ancient lost wax method we talked about. This is the ultimate intersection of everything we've discussed today. Look at the Agni, the fire representing transformation. See the Tandava pose, perfectly freezing the codified rhythmic choreography of the universe. And check out the Damaru, the drum in the upper right hand. That represents the acoustic pulse of time itself. Tangible metal, intangible choreography, and cosmic theology, all existing here in absolute perfect balance. And this brilliantly illustrates the broader ancient worldview, represented by the 64 kalas, or arts. Back then, aesthetics, metallurgy, drama, literature, even everyday life, they weren't separate, boxed-off subjects. They were deeply integrated elements of a holistic human character. The art of painting a mural was intimately connected to the art of herbal medicine, which was connected to the art of waking someone with music. It is a completely unified approach to human knowledge and expression. So what does this all mean? Well, here is the big, final realization. Visual art is the archive of the intangible. History isn't just a dead timeline of static objects. It is a living tradition. Our entire understanding of ancient music, complex choreography, and oral storytelling literally only survives today for one reason, because these visual artists stepped up and acted as brilliant, deliberate documentarians. The intangible breath of the past was passed down exclusively through the tangible artifacts they chose to preserve for us. So I want to leave you with a thought, and honestly, it's a pretty provocative one. We've just seen how stone and bronze preserved ancient humanity, but today, our lives, our music, our stories, our dances, they mostly live up in the cloud.
If our visual artifacts are the archive of the intangible, what parts of our modern lives might be lost forever if our fragile digital cloud backups just disappear? How will future generations see our invisible dance? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning how we leave our mark on time.